inspired some of his finest masterpieces. Discover a mystical garden in exotic Bali, where art harmonizes with the beauty of the landscape. And venture into Beijing's Forbidden City to experience the majesty and grandeur of a Chinese emperor's retreat. Join us for a fascinating world garden tour. Our tour begins in the garden of one of the world's greatest artists, at the home of French Impressionist painter Claude Monet. Monet loved flowers. As an artist and a gardener, he pursued his passion with great energy, creating a natural environment for his home and garden. He chose a home in the town of Giverny, France, just north of Paris, when he was 43 years old. The artist had fallen in love with the charming cottage and the Normandy landscapes. The house was built in a Caribbean style by a wealthy merchant from Guadeloupe. Crushed brick, white stucco walls, and tall French windows make up the exterior. Monet later added the green accents. On these 2.5 acres, Monet built studios both indoors and out. The garden became his open-air workspace. Claire Joyce is married to the great-grandson of Claude Monet and has devoted her life to writing about Monet's art. Claire says these gardens were indispensable to Monet, that he had a physical need to be with the gardens. This is why he chose to live in the countryside instead of in Paris. In Monet's garden, visitors can spot many of the flowers found in his artwork, including impatiens and foxglove. Looking out from his bedroom window, Monet could enjoy the density and softness of the blooms, giving him the illusion of a grand garden in a small setting. Claire Joyce believes Monet designed this garden as an extension of his home.
Like any garden, you can't separate your house from the garden. That's why your garden has to be treated like a room, but a large outside room.
Following the gravel paths, you can experience the natural beauty of Monet's garden design. It's a free-flowing departure from the formal geometric French gardens.
No, I don't think Monet ever planned his garden, really. He has organized his garden like a lot of people do when they do not design their garden. Means it has nothing to do with a kind of balanced geometrical structure, even if it exists in the garden. It's a question of moving in space. When you walk through this garden, it looks like being wild. And to organize something which looks natural and wild is the most difficult thing for a gardener.
Visitors can walk the same paths Monet once walked, and along the way, they can admire some of the same flowers, including vibrant lavender. Monet wanted a garden which would look as if Mother Nature had planted it herself. The artist was also a talented craftsman. He built large curved steel arches and trellises to support climbing roses and vines. The garden was created to be in full bloom between early spring and late autumn. Using a combination of annuals and perennials, the artist was able to achieve astonishing effects.
It's a promenade, it's a walk, and it's a small space, in fact. And from that small space, he created the illusion of great space. And also, in spite of this density, you have definitely a feeling of serenity. And that's what he was looking for, I'm quite sure.
Monet painted his flowers as he saw them, colorful, abundant, and serene. They became his brushwork subjects, living forever in his masterpieces. But Monet's lush garden wasn't just there for his paintings. He was truly passionate about gardening. He chose the plants in his garden, first as an artist for their color, and second for their botanical interest. Monet's skill as a gardener is perhaps best displayed in his now famous water garden.
When he created the water lily pond, he was becoming a little old. He was traveling less. So that was appropriate because he had next doors, belonging to him, his personal landscape.
Monet said of his water lilies, "I grew them without thinking of painting them. All of a sudden, I had the revelation of how magical my pond is. I took my palette. Since then, I have scarcely had another model." Claude Monet painted his water lilies for 35 years, creating dozens of works of art during that time.
He was an excellent botanist. You can't make a garden like that if you do not understand the game of the soil against the kind of plants and against the weather, the climate.
The lily pond, like the front garden, was designed to bloom through 3 seasons each year. Yet Claude Monet's work is timeless. The unrivaled beauty he gave to the world through his art is a testament to how a garden can touch a man's soul.
For someone who never came, or for someone who discovers the garden, having heard of it, it's a very special experience. I don't think he worked in his garden to make it a work of art, but it became a work of art.
When we return, we'll travel to another garden that celebrates art. On the exotic island of Bali, we'll visit a garden that captures the beauty and mystery of nature.
Discover the old world shop.
Ubud is the center of a flourishing art colony in Bali. It's also home to the Agung Rai Museum of Art, located within the gardens of Arma. The museum and its tranquil gardens with a vision of one man.
I dreamed about when I was 20 years old, because when I was a kid, I dreamed to be a painter, artist, like most people in the villages. But I can't do painting, so I've become very frustrated,
Agung Rai channeled his artistic energy towards creating a worldwide market for traditional Balinese art. But business was only a part of his dream. Rai also built a museum and beautiful gardens and named his creation Arma, the Agung Rai Museum of Art. The arts have flourished in Bali for over 500 years, ever since Hindu craftsmen and performers left Java and came to the mountains of Bali. Since then, Bali has become renowned for its tradition of carving, painting, and crafting land into beautiful scenery. This gorgeous landscape inspired many foreign artists to come to Bali. In 1927, the first prominent foreign artist to settle in this pastoral setting was German Walter Spies. Other artists who were also inspired by the picturesque countryside soon joined him. The Balinese had never developed a word for artist. Art was just a natural part of their life, expressed in paintings and in the century-old tradition of sculpting farmland into stepped terraces. Walter Spies encouraged the Balinese to paint these landscapes.
They stay together, they paint, they share the technique. And then what he influenced the Balinese was to encourage the Balinese to paint the landscape. Because before Spies come and live here, there was no one in Bali paint the landscape.
The son of a Balinese farmer, Agung Rai had always loved the surreal beauty of Bali's terraced landscapes. They inspired him to learn landscape design by visiting gardens around the world. Rai returned to Bali a passionate gardener driven by an independent spirit.
The way how I built this museum, the way how I created the landscape, the garden, I have to be involved. I will be very angry if someone help me. you know. Or my wife come here to help me. I will never let her to come here because I know we will be fighting. What I wanted is not like what she wanted. It's different than what I wanted. So I'd rather do it myself.
Walking through the garden is like visiting a verdant dream world. One can sense its spirit, what the Balinese call toksu.
Ubud has a very, very strong vibration of the mother soil here. The mother earth is so strong. So it's kind of, Ubud means a healing. It's medicine to healing people who are frustrated, who are distressed, who are depressed, who are stressed like that. You know, when you're here, you really feel it. How strong is the impact from the nature. I studied the structure of the land, you know, the leveling of the land. Oh, that's just beautiful here. We don't need to change. We just clean it in the bottom. We put this and put it. Try to combine it. My idea in the nature, to combine it. Actually, I didn't do much here. Mostly, it's so nice already.
There is a wonderful harmony between the garden and its natural surroundings, and visitors can sense the magic.
We believe we are also here surrounded by the spirit, positive spirit, yeah, and negative spirit. We try to combine it to be the harmonious. That's why not only the landscape, the offering. Every day, look at, we have offering to keep it in balance. So the people who stay here, they really can feel it in peaceful. They're really inspired by the landscaping here. The taksu is there. The spirit is there. The spirit of your power is there.
When we return to World Garden Tour, we'll venture into a Chinese emperor's hidden retreat, the glorious imperial garden within the Forbidden City in Beijing. Our World Garden Tour now takes us to a royal retreat in Beijing, China, inside the Forbidden City's imperial gardens. In the early 15th century, the second ruler of the Ming Dynasty constructed the Grand Imperial Palace, the largest royal palace in the world. Because this area was off limits to commoners, it became known as the Forbidden City. Tucked away at the north end of the city was where the emperor placed his natural treasure, the imperial gardens. For centuries, many Chinese rulers enjoyed these gardens. However, one 18th century ruler stands out as having had an exceptional interest in gardening. He was Qianlong.
He himself was, taken as the most romantic emperor in the history of China. And he's the garden lover.
If Qianlong saw a beautiful spot, he would order a court artist to sketch it and then replicate the scenery in the royal garden. Today, centuries later, visitors to the imperial garden can witness for themselves the dramatic scenery and feel a tremendous sense of history. Walking through the ancient Beijing gardens is much like examining a Chinese scroll painting. Never is the entire garden seen at one time. Delicate treasures are slowly revealed.
So there's a way of doing the Chinese garden is always try to have something, hiding and revealing.
This curved pathway in the garden beckons you to come forward and explore. Centuries ago, China's emperors walked these pathways and enjoyed the views from the pavilions. The imperial garden provided a retreat where they could relax in the coolness of the towering trees. Ancient pine and cypress trees still decorate the garden. Many are several hundred years old.
A lot of pines and cypress built in the Chinese gardens. And these trees are, with long lives. So they symbolize longevity.
As you wind your way through the Imperial Garden in Beijing, you'll come across two striking cypress trees, which were mere saplings 400 years ago. The emperors enjoyed these trees' unusual twisted growth, which reminded them of embracing lovers. Delicate flowers and abundant shrubbery blend into the garden's architecture, creating a harmonious setting. Lush ivy flows around and within the rockeries, while trumpet vines, bright dahlias, and hibiscus offer colorful accents. Just past the pavilion, the gnarled branches of ancient wisteria add a sculptural effect to the garden. And the texture of abundant bamboo provides another interesting contrast.
The bamboo is much loved because it's hollow inside. It's a character like a scholar. He's very humble, so he's hollow like a bamboo.
Water is one of the Imperial Garden's essential elements, along with plants and stones. Elegant lotus flowers rest on graceful green lily pads, inviting reflection and contemplation.
And also the lotus is very much appreciated because it symbolizes a very purified character, because they grow through a mud, which is very bad environment, but they grow out to be a very purified, pretty blossom. So this is a symbol for someone with a very low background. They turn out to be a very good character.
When World Garden Tour returns, we'll examine the unique rock formations here at the Imperial Gardens, and you'll learn the secret of just how they moved these massive boulders into position 2 centuries ago. We'll also hear what many Chinese think is the major difference between Eastern and Western gardens.
Visit our website at hgtv.com for locations and details about the garden seen on today's episode, or call 865-694-7879 Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please note today's episode number.
Your home. Could it use some work? Just imagine the possibilities.
Before you even get started, it's a must that you have a plan.
So get some help from the pros on HGTV.
Fire up your power tools and get ready.
It's your blueprint to restoring and renovating on the inside.
Speed things up as far as the project goes, too.
Plus, outside advice from the true plant pros.
Sounds like a lot of stuff, and it is.
View it before you do it with the pros. Weeknights from 6 to 8 Eastern on HGTV.
Are you tired of cleaning over and over again, only to have the same old stains come right back? Then don't clean your kitchen or bathroom. Zap it! Presenting Zap 2000, the professional strength restorer used by contractors for over 7 years. Zap 2000 is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just pour it on, let it sit, and wipe it off. And in minutes, your surfaces are back like new. Zap 2000 is a restorer, not a cleaner. Ordinary cleaners only work on surface dirt, but Zap 2000 actually penetrates stains to restore surfaces to their original new shine.
You pour it out, you leave it set. There's no rubbing, there's no scrubbing. You go back a couple of minutes later and you just wipe it up and it's all done.
This shower head is clogged with hard water and mineral deposits, but look, after just one application with Zap 2000, it's restored like new. And watch as Zap 2000 goes to work on this old garden shovel. Years of rust just melt away. Zap 2000 with its fresh wintergreen scent works on porcelain, chrome, fiberglass, toilet bowls, rust, even hard water stains. In fact, Zap 2000 is so effective, it's guaranteed to remove any stain from any of these surfaces or your money back.
It restored my grout to bright white. It cleaned my tile, the bathroom surfaces. It lifted that soap scum off, cleaned the hard water stains, the rust, and the smell is fantastic.
Zap 2000 is so concentrated, just one bottle replaces over $50 worth of ordinary cleaners. Call now and receive Zap 2000 Restorer plus Zap 2000 Easy Spray Cleaner and 2 industrial Zap pads, all for only $19.95. But wait, call in the next 5 minutes and we'll double your order for free. That's right, 4 bottles of Zap 2000 for only $19.95. Operators are standing by, so call the toll-free number or send check or money order to Zap 2000, Box 2220, Agora Hills, California, 91376. Remember, call in the next 5 minutes to receive 2 free bottles of Zap 2000. Order now.
Imperial Garden. We'll take a closer look at what makes Chinese gardens so distinctive. Many Chinese people look upon a garden as a relaxing outdoor sanctuary where one can study, meditate, and enjoy the beauty of nature. The gentle juxtaposition of water, buildings, rocks, and plants in the garden create an art form closely entwined with the Chinese philosophy of Taoism. Between 400 and 200 BC, the philosophy of Taoism emerged. It teaches of a balance and harmony within nature and all aspects of life. Even architectural elements are part of nature's balance. Therefore, building structures became very much a part of Chinese garden design.
We can say that the Chinese garden is built and the Western garden is planted. It's because the main feature in the Western gardens are the plants. And in Chinese gardens, the main feature is architecture. And then the more important elements are the water and the hill.
As you make your way along the gentle pathways of Beijing's Imperial Garden, you pass by peaceful ponds that reflect the Chinese garden's balanced ecosystem. Here, the garden is allowed to grow naturally. Even the spongy green algae in the lotus pond is appreciated as part of the natural beauty. The free-flowing vines, winding stone pathways, and interesting rock formations enhance the naturalized garden setting and are low-maintenance features.
There's quite a craze upon the rocks in the ancient times.
In the 18th century, Emperor Qianlong enjoyed collecting enormous rocks. He would seek out those with the most unusual formations and abstract beauty, and would have them transported hundreds of miles to his imperial garden. You can imagine that back in the 1700s, moving these rocks at all, let alone bringing them great distances and placing them into these positions, was a remarkable feat.
The huge rocks were transported. It's said to be they splash water in the wintertime, splash water on the road, and that freeze, and so it's glide. They cannot lift it, so they try to glide it on the ice up to the capital city, Beijing.
2 centuries ago, Emperor Qianlong built a hill of boulders and constructed the Imperial Sight Pavilion on its peak. Once a year, the emperor would ascend to the top of the hill to savor the beautiful scenery of the gardens. Today, anyone can enjoy the view, and the ancient mystique of the Imperial Gardens continues to inspire visitors from around the world. From a royal garden retreat in Beijing, to Bally's magical Arma Museum Garden, to Monet's impressionistic garden masterpiece in France. We thank you for traveling with us and hope you'll join us again next time on World Garden Tour.
This week on Before and After, the new design for this old house requires a talented builder, and the owners think their son is perfect for the job.
But then if I get angry, who am I going to get angry with?
Watch them manage a beautiful new home and keep their family intact. Before and After, tonight at 8, only on HGTV.
Tuesday night on Bugs, The Secret World of Gardens. If your backyard garden is full of slimy slugs, you might want to hire this guy. The Toad. We'll explore the life cycle of a toad and show you why slugs may be the world's greatest romantics. Bugs, The Secret World of Gardens. Tuesday night at 8, only on HGTV.
Tastes like chicken.
HGTV's Weekend Garden Guide continues. Coming up next, hidden treasures are revealed in the secret gardens.
On this episode of The Secret Gardens, we'll head to Seattle to explore the secluded treasures of the Northwest, including a lush hideaway where East meets West in a beautiful blend of plants and culture. Also ahead, we ferry over to an island garden oasis with roots in the lumber business. And a secret garden is locked away near Seattle's waterfront. Our private garden tour is just ahead on The Secret Gardens.